Hello, I am Air Force Second Lieutenant Jasmine Jacob, and today I am going to be talking to you about discourse analysis. When I say discourse analysis, I am referring to the qualitative research method focused on examining the ways that social and cultural context is reflected through language. Discourse analysis goes beyond what is literally said by a person. Rather, this research method is more specifically interested in the way that people use language to create meaning and shape their reality. In this way, discourse analysis is a deconstructive method that dissects the connection between written or spoken language and the social constructs they perpetrate. There are several different types of discourse analysis that have different goals. We will briefly discuss some of the more common types of discourse analysis. The first type we'll discuss is critical discourse analysis, abbreviated as CDA. This type of discourse analysis examines the relationship between language, power, and social inequality. More specifically, researchers may be interested in how language is used to maintain social inequality, as well as how it can be used to challenge and resist oppression. This type of discourse analysis is often used in political contexts or understanding in historical contexts how different types of power structures have came to be or how they have been dismantled. You can often think of the us versus them type of rhetoric that is analyzed and applied to different specific contexts that we've seen in recent history. The second type of discourse analysis is conversation analysis, abbreviated as CA. This type of discourse analysis analyzes the structure and processes of social interaction in everyday talk. This type of discourse analysis is interested in the micro level details of conversation, such as turn taking, which involves speaking versus listening, gaze, otherwise known as eye contact, and body language. They may also be interested in how conversation is used to achieve different social goals, such as building relationships, managing conflict, and exchanging information. The third type of discourse analysis that we'll talk about is narrative analysis. This type of discourse analysis studies stories as they appear in interviews, observations, or written texts. It is a study of how stories are told and how they shape our understanding of the world. For example, you might study how the story of Christopher Columbus is told in different cultures and how it shapes people's understandings of heroism. The fourth type of discourse analysis that we'll talk about is pragmatics. Pragmatics is focused on how context contributes to meaning, going beyond the literal meaning of words. A pragmatist might be interested in the role of factors such as intonation, body language, and shared knowledge and communication. The next type of discourse analysis that we'll talk about is Foucauldian discourse analysis. This type of discourse analysis analyzes how discourse shapes knowledge and social structures. These analysts are interested in how discourse is used to construct and maintain social norms and power relations. It is very similar to the first type of discourse analysis that we talked about, which is CDA, but once again, this is more talking about power relations and maintaining social norms. The next type of discourse analysis that we'll talk about is ethnography of communication. These type of discourse analysts like to study how language is used within specific cultural contexts. They may be interested in how language is used to construct and maintain relationships, negotiate social meaning, and perform social identities. This is highly relevant in workplace settings and research that has to do with work. The next type of discourse analysis that we'll briefly discuss is variation analysis. This type of discourse analysis studies how language varies across different social groups and contexts. It is interested in factors contributing to language variation, such as age, region, social class, and gender. They may also be interested in the implications of language variation for social identity and power relations. For example, consider tomato versus tomato. A variation analyst might study how the pronunciation of the word tomato varies across different regions of the United States. And then finally, we'll briefly discuss rhetorical analysis as one of the different types of discourse analysis. This is a method that investigates the methods and strategies of persuasion in a piece of text or speech. It looks at the speaker or writer's purpose, their audience, and the strategies they use to achieve their purpose. They may also be interested in the use of rhetorical devices, such as metaphors, similes, and rhetorical questions. A good example of this would be MLK's I Have a Dream speech. There are a variety of similes, metaphors, and different devices used that could be analyzed very easily by a rhetorical analyst. The way that discourse analysis is used depends on the goals of the research. According to Chapter 23, Discourse Analysis in Ayton et al.'s book, Qualitative Research, A Practical Guide for Health and Social Care Researchers and Practitioners, the following steps are recommended to conduct any type of discourse analysis. The first step is to have a clearly defined topic and research question. This is because this informs the type of research materials that will be used. The second step involved in discourse analysis should be conducting wide-ranging searches for materials that will inform the research topic. This step is mainly concerned with making sure that you have the resources in order to conduct your research. Step three is concerned with determining which theory and framework will be used as the underpinning foundation for the analyses that you will ultimately conduct. Step 4 involves analyzing the context of the materials. This analysis is different but similar to the content analysis, which is a research technique aimed at systematically classifying codes and identifying themes or patterns within the data. Discourse analysis is concerned with identifying themes and patterns within text that relate to social contexts reflected in the research topic and within the theoretical lens chosen for analyses. And finally, the fifth and final step is interpreting and drawing conclusions. This requires you to reflect on your work and examine how the various texts use language within the context of the research topic to answer the research questions. All in all, discourse is not just language. It's the way we use language to communicate with each other in social situations. It is a way to share our thoughts and ideas, build relationships, establish culture, influence others, and create meaning in our world. Thank you and have a good day.